Hey everyone, welcome back to Celebrity Unfolded, the place where we uncover the untold stories behind the smiles, the heartbreaks, and the lives of the stars you thought you knew. Today's story, it's one that has truly shaken fans to the core. After nearly 3 decades together, one of television's most beloved couples, Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos, have finally reached a breaking point. And what Mark did right after the divorce, it's left the entire world stunned. Stay tuned till the end, because trust me, you won't see this twist coming. For years, they were the gold standard of love in Hollywood. Kelly Ripa, the bright, charismatic morning show queen with the smile that lit up America's mornings, and Mark Consuelos, the charming, loyal husband who seemed to be the perfect balance to her fiery spirit. Their love story began back in the 1990s on the set of All My Children, a moment straight out of a fairy tale. The chemistry was undeniable, the attraction instant, and their elopement, just days after meeting, became the stuff of legend. But behind the sparkle of red carpets and talk show laughter, life often paints a quieter, more complicated picture. The first cracks began to show long before the headlines ever caught up. Sources close to the couple, friends who had witnessed the subtle changes, described it as a slow unraveling. As their children grew up and the cameras kept rolling, Kelly and Mark's lives started to drift apart in ways neither of them expected. Mark's career took him away for long filming schedules, Riverdale, hosting gigs, and countless appearances. Kelly, meanwhile, was anchoring live with Kelly and Mark. The very show that once celebrated their love now became the stage where the tension quietly lived. And then came the silence. Fans started noticing it first. Kelly's smile, though bright, had a certain heaviness. Mark, often full of charm, seemed distant during their on-air banter. The once seamless energy between them was replaced with small pauses, moments that said everything without words. Months later, the statement came, brief, respectful, and devastating. After much thought and mutual respect, we've decided to part ways. Our love and admiration for each other remain, but we believe it's time for a new chapter. The world froze. Social media erupted in disbelief. No way. Not Kelly and Mark. They were my hope for real love. This can't be happening. For 28 years, they weren't just a couple. They were proof that Hollywood love could last. And now that proof had shattered. But if the divorce shocked the world, Mark's first move after it sent an even deeper tremor through the hearts of fans. Within weeks of the announcement, Mark was spotted leaving New York City. Paparazzi captured him with a single suitcase, heading toward a small town in Spain, a place many fans didn't even know held a piece of his heart. According to insiders, Mark had quietly bought a modest home in Cordoba, the town where his father was born. It wasn't a mansion, not a celebrity hideout, just a white-walled villa with an olive tree in front and the distant sound of church bells echoing through the streets. What was he doing there? Running away from fame? Searching for peace? Turns out both. A local journalist later confirmed that Mark had been spending his mornings at a small cafe, writing in a notebook and speaking to locals about family, love, and forgiveness. He looked like a man trying to remember who he was before the cameras, one cafe owner said. And then came the twist. In late spring, a charity event in Madrid took place, one that Mark had quietly helped organize. It was a fundraiser for single parents and children of divorce, a cause that, for obvious reasons, had suddenly become very personal. Kelly, back in New York, hadn't made any public statements beyond her original one. She continued hosting live, but even her co-hosts and friends could see she was struggling. During one emotional episode, she shared a quote that broke hearts everywhere. Sometimes you spend your whole life building something beautiful, and then you realize you were meant to let it go. Fans flooded social media with messages of support. Some hoped for reconciliation, others just wanted them both to heal. But behind the scenes, something unexpected was happening. When Mark began his work in Spain, he had no intention of returning to television. Yet one day he received a letter. Not an email, not a text, but an actual handwritten letter from Kelly. It arrived through his manager, forwarded from New York. The note was short but powerful. "You taught me how to love in the spotlight, But maybe our greatest act of love is learning how to let each other shine separately. I hope you're happy. Truly. That message, insiders say, changed everything for Mark. For the first time in months, he was seen smiling again. Not the polished, TV-ready smile, but a soft, real one. He began filming small documentary-style videos about rebuilding after heartbreak. His new project, titled After the Spotlight, focused on rediscovering yourself after losing love. A raw, vulnerable look at how even the strongest relationships can evolve into something else. And then came another emotional curveball, one that caught even Kelly off guard. During one of those recordings, Mark revealed something that no one expected. The truth is, I never stopped loving her. I just had to learn to love her differently. Sometimes you don't need to be someone's partner to keep being their home. The clip went viral overnight. Millions of views, endless tears, and countless fans writing, "This is love in its purest form." Kelly saw the clip, and according to a close source, she broke down in tears. For weeks, she had stayed strong on camera, smiling through the heartbreak. But that moment, it got to her. A few weeks later, Kelly took a break from live. Rumors swirled about her stepping back permanently, but insiders said she just needed space. Time to breathe and find herself again. During that time, she began painting, something she hadn't done since her early 20s. Her close friend later shared that her new artwork was a diary without words, full of sunsets, broken mirrors, and bridges that never quite connected. Fans began noticing her subtle transformation, quieter, softer, but somehow more real than ever. Months passed, seasons changed. Then one day, out of nowhere, Mark appeared back in New York, not for work, not for publicity, but for something far more personal. Their youngest son was graduating from college, and both Kelly and Mark attended. It was their first public reunion since the divorce. Cameras caught the moment. Kelly in a simple cream dress, Mark in a navy suit. No grand gestures, no awkward tension, just two people smiling gently at each other, proud of what they built together. After the ceremony, while everyone celebrated, a photographer captured one quiet photo. Kelly and Mark walking side by side, looking at their son, both with tears in their eyes. That photo broke the internet. Not because it hinted at reconciliation, but because it showed something far more powerful: peace. Later that night, Mark posted on Instagram for the first time in months. The caption read, "No matter where life takes us, family will always be home." Kelly liked the post within minutes. And just like that, the narrative shifted. From heartbreak to healing, from endings to beginnings. Mark didn't move back to Spain after that. Instead, he began splitting his time between Europe and New York, occasionally visiting the live studio. Not as a co-host, but as a friend. Their on-screen chemistry was different now. Gentler, wiser, touched by everything they'd been through. Audiences could feel it too. Their laughter carried more meaning, their pauses more depth. It wasn't the same old couple banter. It was the sound of two souls who had walked through fire and come out kinder on the other side. In one particularly emotional segment months later, Kelly addressed the audience directly. "Sometimes people think love ends when marriage does. But I've learned that love just changes shape. Mark will always be part of my story, and I'm grateful for every chapter, even the hard ones." The audience gave a standing ovation. Mark, watching from backstage, had tears in his eyes. And that's when he made his second big move. He decided to donate all the profits from After the Spotlight to programs supporting couples in crisis, counseling, family healing, and children of separated parents. "If our story can help someone else hold on to hope or find peace in letting go," he said, "then maybe it was all worth it." The world watched in awe. What began as a sad headline, Hollywood's favorite couple splits, had turned into a story of compassion, forgiveness, and growth. Fans began using the hashtag #StillRipa and Consuelos, not to suggest reunion, but to celebrate enduring love in a new form. And though the tabloids continued to spin rumors, Kelly and Mark both stayed quiet about their private lives. They didn't need to explain anything anymore. They had already said everything, through their silence, through their choices, through their shared history that would never really disappear. Years later, a journalist asked Kelly if she ever regretted how things ended. She smiled softly and replied, "You don't regret love. You just thank it for what it gave you, and hope it taught you enough to love better next time." That line alone became one of the most replayed interview clips of the year. Mark, when asked a similar question, gave his own quiet response. "If I had to live it all over again, the laughter, the fights, the heartbreak, I would, because every second with her was real." And that's the story, everyone. A love that didn't end, but evolved. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos may have parted ways, but they showed the world something rare, that even in heartbreak, there's room for grace. Sometimes the bravest thing two people can do is let go, while still holding on to respect, kindness, and memories that never fade. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because here we tell the stories behind the headlines, the ones that remind us that love, in all its forms, still matters.